Hello, my friend, and welcome back. I'm really happy that you're here today. This is another episode of Super English Talks, the channel where we use real English to talk about real ideas. Listen closely, because today we start with a quiet truth. A truth that many people forget. A truth that can change the way you learn English forever. And that truth is simple. You learn more when you listen more. Welcome back to Super English Talks, my friend. Take a deep breath. Relax your shoulders. Let your mind become calm. Because this story is not only for your English, it is also for your life. Tonight, I want to take you on a journey. A journey about a young man who believed talking was the only way to learn English, until his life showed him something different. His name is Daniel. A curious, friendly boy who always wanted to speak better, faster, clearer. But he did not know the secret that listening is the door to understanding, and understanding is the door to speaking. So let me take you to the beginning of his story. Imagine this. A small town, quiet in the early morning. The sun is still soft, the air smells like warm bread from the bakery near the street corner, and the world moves slowly. Daniel is walking to school with a backpack full of English books, but his mind feels heavy. He repeats English sentences in his head. How are you? I am fine. I would like a cup of tea. He whispers them over and over. He thinks if I talk more, I will learn more. If I speak more, I will finally sound fluent. But something inside him feels tired, exhausted. Because every time he speaks, he becomes nervous. Every time he tries to join a conversation, he feels like he is jumping into a river without knowing how deep it is. He hates that feeling. Yet he keeps pushing. Keep talking, keep talking, keep talking, that is what all the old books say. But something is different today. Something small, but important. On this particular morning, he passes by an old man sitting outside his home. The old man sits in a wooden chair, sipping tea with calm, slow movements. Daniel sees him every day, but today he notices something unusual. The old man is not reading. He is not moving. He is simply listening. Listening to the sound of the wind. Listening to the birds. Listening to the world. Daniel wonders, why listen so much? Isn't talking more important? But the old man turns his head slowly, as if he heard Daniel's thoughts, and smiles. A warm, peaceful smile. And with that smile, Daniel feels something strange. He feels seen. He walks on, confused but curious. At school, Daniel enters his English class. The room is noisy. Students are talking loudly, trying to impress the teacher with long sentences and big words. Daniel joins in, trying to speak more, speak faster, speak better. But his voice shakes inside the loud storm of voices. He feels lost again. He thinks, maybe I'm just not good at English. Maybe speaking is too hard for me. The teacher begins the lesson, but Daniel's mind is still stressed. He feels a small knot of pressure in his chest. He wants to be better, but the more he talks, the more mistakes he makes. The more he tries to explain, the more his tongue feels heavy. The more he fears being wrong, the less he says what he wants to say. At the end of the class, he sits alone, staring at his desk. Everyone else leaves quickly. But Daniel remains in his chair, feeling like he is sinking into silence. For a moment, he thinks he is failing. But then the door opens, and the old man from the morning walks in. Daniel jumps a little in surprise. Sir? Why are you here? The old man smiles, the same soft smile. I teach the class after yours, he says slowly, gently, almost like he is singing the words. But I saw you walking this morning. I saw something in your eyes. Daniel feels shy. In my eyes. Yes, the old man says. A young man trying very hard. Sometimes, too hard. Daniel frowns. Too hard? But I need to talk to get better. Everybody says talk, talk, talk. The old man sits on top of a desk, still relaxed. Tell me, he says, if you water a plant all day long, will it grow faster? Daniel shakes his head. No, it will drown. Exactly, the old man replies. We do not grow by forcing. We grow by receiving. And listening is receiving. Daniel does not fully understand, but something inside him softens. Like a heavy door in his heart opens just a little. The man leans closer. Come walk with me. Daniel follows him outside into the school garden. The leaves are bright, the shadows move softly, and the air feels cool. The old man stops beside a small tree and says, Listen. To what? Daniel asks. To everything. Daniel stands still. At first, he hears nothing special. But slowly, the world begins to reveal itself. The wind whispers through the leaves. A bird sings with a rhythm that feels like a heartbeat. A car passes in the distance. And somewhere far away, someone laughs. The old man says, the world is talking all the time. But only the quiet can hear it. Daniel closes his eyes. He listens deeper. And for the first time in a long time, he feels calm. You want to speak English well, the old man continues. But you are drowning yourself with words. You must listen first. Listen more than you speak. That is how a child learns. That is how the brain grows. That is how understanding becomes natural. Daniel opens his eyes. But if I listen too much, will I speak less? No, the man replies softly. You will speak better. These words fall into Daniel's heart like warm rain. For a moment, he stands in silence, letting them sink inside him. Then the man says, Come tomorrow morning. Not for a lesson, but for a habit. What habit? Daniel asks. A listening habit, the old man answers. If you listen for 10 minutes every morning, your English will change. Your brain will change. Your fear will reduce. Your understanding will grow stronger. 10 minutes. Every morning. Are you ready? Daniel hesitates. He feels unsure. But something inside him says yes. Something inside him knows he needs a new way. So he nods. The old man smiles again. Good. Then tomorrow, before school, come find me. That night, Daniel lies in bed, thinking about the old man's words. He thinks about listening. He thinks about receiving. He thinks about the quiet world that he heard in the garden, a world he never noticed before. And he wonders, can listening really help me speak better? The question stays with him, echoes in his mind. And slowly, he begins to feel something he hasn't felt in a long time, hope. The next morning, the sky is blue, calm, and beautiful. Daniel wakes early, earlier than usual, with a soft excitement inside him. He brushes his teeth, grabs his bag, and walks quickly to school. He finds the old man sitting outside again with his warm cup of tea. The man nods. Sit, he says gently. Daniel sits on the step next to him. Today, the man says, we listen. Daniel nods. They sit together, quiet. The world around them moves slowly. A bird hops on the ground. A dog barks in the distance. A woman walks by with a little girl holding her hand. The old man says nothing. He just breathes deeply. And Daniel copies him. And then, the man begins speaking. But not in a normal way. He speaks slowly, clearly, with small, simple words, like the wind talking softly. Listening is understanding, he says. Understanding is remembering. And remembering is speaking. Daniel repeats the rhythm in his head. He feels the words enter him like warm light. The old man continues, most people try to speak first. They jump into the river without learning how the water moves. But good speakers are good listeners first. They watch the water. They learn its rhythm. Then they step in. Daniel looks at the old man's face and sees wisdom in his eyes, soft, deep wisdom. They spend 10 minutes listening. Not studying. not reading, just listening. And when the 10 minutes end, Daniel feels something different. He feels lighter, calmer, more open. The old man stands. You listened well today. Tomorrow, we listen again. Daniel smiles. I'll come. And as he walks to class, something incredible happens. He hears English in a new way. The teacher speaks, and Daniel understands more than yesterday. His classmates talk, and he catches words he never noticed before. The language does not feel like a heavy rock anymore. It feels like soft rain falling around him. Later that day, when someone asks Daniel a simple question, he answers without fear, without pressure, without shaking. His words come out smooth and clear. And he realizes the old man was right. Listening is the key. Listening is the beginning. Listening is the secret door he never opened before. And he wonders, with curiosity growing inside him, what will happen if I listen like this every day? What will happen if I listen more and talk less? That question stays with him. That question changes him. That question becomes the start of his transformation. And this, my friend, is where our journey begins. The next morning arrives quietly, like a soft wave touching the sand. Daniel wakes up before his alarm, something unusual for him. There is a calm energy inside his chest, an excitement he cannot explain. Usually, mornings feel heavy, slow, and rushed. But today, he moves with a gentle purpose. He gets dressed, ties his shoes carefully, and even takes a moment to smell the fresh morning air through the window. He whispers to himself today. I listen again. As he walks through the quiet streets, he notices things he never noticed before. The soft sound of his steps hitting the ground. The tiny scratch of the wind moving through the trees. A bicycle rolling on the road with a light clicking noise. It feels like his ears are waking up after a long sleep. When he turns the corner, he sees the old man in the same wooden chair, holding the same warm cup of tea. But today, Daniel can feel something new, a connection between them. A secret rhythm only they share. The old man lifts his eyes and smiles. Welcome back. Daniel sits next to him, taking a deep breath. I'm ready. The old man nods slowly. Good. Today, we listen a little deeper. He lifts his cup, drinks a slow sip of tea, and places it down on the small table beside him. He closes his eyes. Daniel follows. For 1 minute, there is silence. Then the old man whispers, Tell me, what do you hear? Daniel opens his ears. He hears the wind. A bird. A motorcycle in the distance. A door closing somewhere far away. And he says softly, I hear the world. I hear life. The old man smiles without opening his eyes. Good. But now, listen to yourself. Myself? Daniel asks, confused. Yes, the man replies. Listen to your breath. Listen to your heartbeat. Listen to the quiet inside you. Daniel stays still. He listens. It takes time, but slowly he hears it, his breath going in and out, steady, calm, soft. He hears the quiet inside his body, a quiet he never noticed before. And that quiet makes him feel strong. After a few minutes, the old man speaks again. When you learn English, you think the hard work is with your tongue, with your mouth, with your words. But the real work is here. He taps his fingers gently on his chest. Daniel feels something warm in that moment, a gentle truth he cannot fully explain but can somehow feel. The old man continues, listening is not only with the ears. It is with the whole body. When you listen deeply, you become calm. When you are calm, you learn faster. When you are calm, you remember more. And when you remember more, you speak better. Daniel nods slowly. His mind opens. His heart relaxes. Everything begins to make sense. The old man stands up and begins to walk through the small garden behind the school. Daniel follows. The garden is filled with green plants, tiny flowers, and soft shadows moving on the ground. The morning dew sparkles like little stars on the leaves. English, the old man says, touching a flower with his fingertips, is not only a language. It is a rhythm. A rhythm? Daniel asks. Yes, the man says. Like music. Like walking. Like breathing. If you listen to the rhythm, speaking becomes easy. But if you only try to speak without listening, your rhythm breaks. Your confidence breaks. Your voice breaks. Daniel remembers how often his voice shook in class. How many times he tried to speak fast or speak perfectly and felt like he failed. He sighs softly. The old man hears the sigh and says, "You are not broken. You are only trying too hard." Daniel's throat tightens a little. He feels understood, maybe for the first time in years. The old man continues walking. Today, I want you to listen to English. Not to repeat. Not to practice. Just listen. He takes out a small old radio from his bag. The radio looks old and a bit scratched, but it has a charm, like a friend that has survived many years. This radio, he says, has taught more English than many teachers. Including me. Daniel laughs lightly. Really? Oh yes, the man says. Sometimes the best teacher does not speak to you directly. It speaks to your ear and your heart. He turns on the radio. A soft English voice fills the air. A woman reading a simple story. Her voice is slow, clear, warm, like she is reading to a child before bedtime. Daniel listens. At first, he recognizes only some words. Then more. Then full sentences. Slowly, the story becomes real in his mind. The woman speaks about a young girl picking apples in a field with her grandfather. The story is simple. But the way the woman speaks makes it feel alive, colorful, gentle. And for the first time in a long time, Daniel listens to English without fear. Without pressure. Without thinking about tests, grammar, or mistakes. He just listens. After a few minutes, the old man lowers the volume on the radio. You see, he says softly, when you listen with no fear, you understand more. Daniel nods, surprised. I understood so much. More than I usually do. The old man smiles. Because today you listen like a student of life, not like a student of school. They continue the listening session for 15 minutes. Daniel follows every word with curiosity and joy. When it ends, he feels full, not heavy like before, but full like after a warm meal. The old man places the radio back into his bag. Come here every morning. Even for 10 minutes. Your English will grow like this garden, slowly, quietly, beautifully. Daniel smiles. I will. Then the old man asks, do you know why I teach you this way? Daniel shakes his head. The old man takes a deep breath and says, because once I was like you. I tried to speak more, speak faster, speak better. And I failed every time. But then I discovered the secret: the world speaks before we do. And if we learn to listen, the world teaches us everything. Daniel feels the words enter him again like a warm flame. He does not speak. He just listens. The school bell rings. Students run into the building, laughing, shouting, moving fast. But Daniel stays calm. The old man pats him on the shoulder gently. Go to class, he says. And listen today. Not only to voices, but to feelings, to meaning, to the space between words. Daniel walks to class with a new sense of strength. His steps feel lighter. His heart feels open. His ears feel awake. When he enters the classroom, the noise should bother him. But today, it doesn't. Today he listens. He hears the teacher explaining something, and for the first time, he hears not just the words, but the intention behind them. The teacher is tired. She wants the students to focus, but doesn't know how to make them calm. Daniel never noticed this before. He listens to his classmates. Usually, he only notices when they speak better English than him. But today, he hears their fear too. Their hesitation. Their mistakes. He hears that everyone struggles, not just him. And suddenly, he doesn't feel alone. The teacher asks a question. Normally, Daniel feels pressure. But today, he listens first. He breathes. He lets the question enter him slowly. And then, he answers. Not fast. Not perfect. But calmly. And the teacher looks surprised. Good, she says gently. Very good. Daniel blushes a little, but inside, he feels proud. He feels like something is changing. During lunch, Daniel sits under a tree alone, but not lonely. He takes out a small notepad and writes, "Listen more than you speak." Listening is the beginning of understanding. Understanding is the beginning of speaking. These simple phrases feel like treasures. After school, he passes by the old man's house again. The man waves at him. Daniel waves back with a big smile. And this becomes their routine. Every morning, Daniel wakes early. Every morning, he listens. First to the world, then to the radio, then to his own quiet breath. And slowly, something inside him changes. He becomes calmer, more curious, more open. His English understanding grows day by day. Not through pressure, not through fear, but through quiet, gentle listening. One morning, after 2 weeks of listening practice, something interesting happens. Daniel arrives early. The old man is not outside yet. For a moment, Daniel feels lost, like a musician without his instrument. Then he remembers. Listen to everything. Listen to yourself. So he sits alone on the old chair and closes his eyes. And he listens. To the morning breeze. To the distant sound of someone cooking breakfast. To the soft hum of a car engine 2 streets away. To the quiet beat of his own heart. He listens until he feels full again. When the old man finally walks outside, he smiles with a deep satisfaction. He says, "You're becoming a listener." Very good. Daniel smiles. I didn't even need the radio today. The old man laughs lightly. That is because you learned the truth. Tools help, but the real teacher is your attention. Daniel feels a warm pride grow inside him. And then the old man says something surprising. Are you ready for the next step? Daniel blinks. Next step. Yes, the old man says. You listen deeply. Now it is time to listen differently. Daniel tilts his head. Differently how? The old man's eyes sparkle with mystery. We will listen to people. And suddenly, Daniel feels a mix of excitement and fear. People? Real people? Real conversations? It sounds scary, but it also sounds important. The old man pats Daniel on the back gently and says, "Do not worry. Listening to people is how you learn to speak like a storyteller. And soon, you will understand English in a way you never thought possible." Daniel swallows hard. His heart beats faster. And this is where the true challenge begins. The next morning begins with the same soft light, the same quiet air, the same peaceful rhythm that Daniel now knows so well. But today feels different. Today feels bigger. Like he is taking a step into a new world. Because today, the old man said they would begin something new. Something deeper. Something more human. Daniel walks faster than usual, almost running. His feet tap the ground in a steady rhythm, like a drum leading him toward a mystery. When he reaches the old wooden chair outside the house, the old man is already there, waiting with a cup of steaming tea. "Good morning," the man says with a warm smile. "Good morning," Daniel replies, trying to hide the excitement in his voice. The old man studies him for a moment and nods. "You look ready." "I think I am," Daniel says. The old man takes one slow sip of tea. Then he says something simple, but heavy with meaning. Today, we listen to the world inside people. Daniel blinks. Inside people? Yes, the old man says gently. You listen to the wind. You listen to stories. You listen to your breath. But now you will listen to something more important: human voices, human emotions, human stories. Daniel feels nervous immediately. You mean, talk to people? No, the man says. Not talk. Listen. Only listen. Daniel feels a small spark of relief. The old man stands, stretches his back a little, and says, "Come." We walk. They begin to walk down the quiet street together. The sun is rising higher now, painting everything with soft gold. The morning smells like fresh bread again, and Daniel smiles at the simple beauty of it. As they walk, the old man says, "People speak in layers. Words are only the top layer. Under the words, there is meaning. Under meaning, there is emotion. Under emotion, there is truth." Daniel listens carefully. The words feel deep, like water in a quiet lake. The old man continues, "If you listen only to words, you understand 50%. If you listen to meaning, you understand 70%. If you listen to emotion, you understand 90%. And if you listen to truth, you understand everything." Daniel nods, feeling the weight of the idea. But how do I listen like that? How do I hear meaning and emotion? The old man stops walking and looks at him softly. By being quiet inside. They reach a small park. It is simple, with 2 benches, a few trees, and a small playground. A young mother sits on a bench, gently talking to her little daughter. A man in a blue jacket stands near a fountain, speaking on the phone. 2 teenagers sit on the grass, laughing about something. The old man gestures around them. People are talking everywhere. Listen. Daniel hesitates, but then he closes his eyes and takes a deep breath. He opens his ears. At first, he hears only noise, mixed voices, distant laughter, soft footsteps, cars passing by. Everything blends together into a messy sound. But the old man whispers, "Don't listen to everything. Choose one voice." So Daniel focuses. He turns his attention to the mother and daughter. The mother speaks in a soft English voice. Daniel hears only some words at first: careful, slow, hold my hand. But then, he begins to hear more. He hears the mother's tone soft, patient, warm. He hears the little girl's giggle, bright, happy, free. Without understanding every single word, Daniel understands the emotion: love, comfort, safety. He whispers, "I can feel what she means." The old man smiles. Good. That is listening. Then the old man points toward the man in the blue jacket talking on the phone. His voice is louder. Faster. Daniel focuses. He hears frustration in the man's voice, small sighs, sharp pauses, quick replies. The words are too fast, but Daniel still feels the emotion: stress, pressure, worry. He whispers, he sounds tired. The old man nods. Yes, that is listening too. Then the old man points at the 2 teenagers laughing. Daniel listens again. Their English is messy, full of slang, but he hears the joy, the playfulness, the lightness. Daniel opens his eyes. I didn't understand all their words, but I understood their feelings. Yes, the old man says gently. Because listening is not about perfect English. It is about connection. When you connect, you understand. The old man walks toward a bench and sits. Daniel sits beside him. Let me tell you something important, the old man says. Many learners fear speaking because they fear not understanding everything. They think listening is hard. But listening becomes easy when you stop trying to catch every word. Words are only part of the story. Daniel listens closely. The old man continues, when you listen to people, really listen, their feelings guide you. Their voice tells you the truth. Not grammar. Not vocabulary. Their voice. Daniel looks at the mother and daughter again. Suddenly, he notices something new. The way the mother leans forward to help the girl. The way she smiles. The way the girl holds a small toy tightly. Without hearing a single English word, Daniel understands their world. And he feels a soft warmth inside his chest. Then something surprising happens. A man who has been walking his dog near the bench stops and smiles at Daniel and the old man. "Beautiful morning, isn't it?" the man says in English. Daniel freezes. He was not expecting someone to talk to him. The old man nods politely. "Yes, very beautiful." The man looks at Daniel. "You two out for a walk?" Daniel opens his mouth, but no words come out. His heart beats fast. He wants to speak. He wants to answer. But fear rises in his throat. The old man places a gentle hand on Daniel's shoulder. "Listen first," he whispers. So Daniel breathes in, breathes out, and listens. The man continues speaking. "My dog likes this park. She always wants to come early. If I wait too long, she gets angry with me." He laughs softly. Daniel hears the emotion, friendly, relaxed, humorous. He feels his chest loosen. And suddenly, he speaks. "Yes," he says softly. "It is a beautiful morning." The man nods with a warm smile. "You're right. Enjoy your day." He walks away with his dog. Daniel exhales, amazed at himself. I did it." The old man nods proudly. "Because you listen first. Listening gives you time. Listening gives you calm. Listening gives you confidence." Daniel feels a deep truth settle inside his mind. They sit in the park for a while longer, observing people, listening to the tones, the rhythms, the pauses. Daniel begins to realize that even when he does not understand every word, he still understands the moment. And that is when something beautiful happens. As they sit on the bench, two tourists approach them. A woman and her teenage son, holding a small map. The woman smiles politely. "Excuse me, do you know where the museum is?" Daniel feels the old panic again. But then, he hears the woman's voice more carefully. Her tone is gentle, not demanding. Her child is curious, not impatient. Her question is simple. He listens. And this time, listening brings clarity. He points down the street. "Go straight, and then left. You will see a big white building. That is the museum." The woman smiles gratefully. "Thank you so much." Daniel blushes a little. "You're welcome." As the tourists walk away, Daniel feels a warm sense of success. He looks at the old man, expecting him to say something wise. But instead, the old man smiles softly and says, "You see? Speaking becomes easy when listening becomes strong." Daniel nods slowly. "I understand now. Listening is not only for learning English. It is for understanding people." "Exactly," the old man says. "And when you understand people, speaking becomes natural." They spend another 10 minutes observing and listening. Daniel begins to enjoy it, almost like a game. Noticing voices. Noticing emotions. Noticing the small stories happening around him. His mind feels clearer. His ears feel sharper. His heart feels lighter. As they walk back toward the old man's house, Daniel asks, "Will I ever speak English easily?" The old man smiles at the sky. "You already are." Daniel laughs. "No, I mean, like native speakers." The old man shakes his head gently. Fluency does not mean speaking like someone else. Fluency means speaking like yourself, without fear. Daniel stops walking. "Speaking like myself?" "Yes," the old man says. "Real fluency is honest, simple, natural. And it starts with listening." They reach the wooden chair in front of the old man's home. The man sits down with a soft sigh and says, "You learned well today." Daniel sits beside him. "What happens next?" The old man looks at him with calm eyes and says, "Next, we listen to silence. Daniel tilts his head. Silence. Yes, the old man whispers. Silence teaches what words cannot. Daniel feels a chill in his arms, not from cold, but from excitement. From curiosity. From the feeling that he is stepping into a deeper part of himself. The old man closes his eyes. Tomorrow, come early. Earlier than you ever came before. Daniel swallows. How early? The old man smiles. Before the world wakes up. Daniel nods slowly. I'll come. And as he walks home, a new question fills his mind. If listening to people changed him this much, what will happen when he listens to silence? He doesn't know the answer yet, but he will soon. Because tomorrow, his journey will take him to a place inside himself he has never visited before. A place where true understanding begins. Daniel wakes before the sun. Not because of an alarm, not because of noise, but because something deep inside him is awake. Something gentle, something curious. He opens his eyes in the quiet darkness of his room and listens. At first, he hears nothing, only stillness. But soon, he begins to hear the soft hum of his breathing, the slow thump of his heartbeat, the tiny whispers of a new day. He whispers to himself today. I listen to silence. He gets dressed quietly, careful not to wake anyone in the house. When he steps outside, the world feels different. The sky is dark blue, almost black, but soft light touches the edge of the horizon. The air is cold and clean. The streets are empty. No cars. No voices. No footsteps except his own. For a moment, Daniel feels alone. But not lonely. He feels like the whole world is holding its breath. He walks toward the old man's house, but something surprises him. The old man is not sitting in the wooden chair. He is standing in the middle of the street, hands behind his back, looking at the sky like someone waiting for an old friend. When he sees Daniel, he nods slowly. Good. You came early. Daniel tries to smile, but the quiet is so deep that even smiling feels loud. He whispers, Is this early enough? The old man chuckles softly. Yes, this is perfect. A soft wind passes between them like a secret message. The old man takes a deep breath and says, Today, we listen to the silence that lives before the day begins. Daniel looks around. But there is nothing to listen to. The old man turns his eyes toward him. There is everything to listen to. You only need to be patient. They stand side by side. No movement. No talking. No plan. Only listening. At first, Daniel hears nothing. The world feels empty. But slowly, very slowly, silence begins to speak. He hears the soft rustle of a leaf on the ground. He hears his breath, warm and gentle in the cold morning. He hears the faintest sound of a bird moving inside a tree, still half asleep. He hears the distant hum of the world stretching awake, like a giant taking its first breath. Daniel feels something inside him shift, like a small door opening in his chest. He doesn't know what it means, but he feels it. The old man whispers, Most people fear silence. They fill it with noise. They run from it. But silence is where understanding grows. Daniel whispers back, It feels strange, but also peaceful. Yes, the old man replies softly. Silence is where the mind becomes clear. When your mind is clear, words come easily. Ideas come easily. Languages enter you like warm sunlight. Daniel closes his eyes. He lets the silence flow into him. It feels like sitting beside a calm lake, the water perfectly still, waiting for a single drop to create a ripple. The old man says, When you speak English in fear, your mind is noisy. When you listen in silence, your mind becomes like water. And water reflects everything clearly. Daniel breathes deeply, slowly, calmly. They stand like this for a few minutes. Then the old man gently touches Daniel's shoulder. Come, let us walk. They begin walking toward the small hill at the edge of the town. Daniel has never walked there this early before. The path is narrow and covered with tiny stones that crunch softly under their feet. Birds begin to wake, but only a few. The world is still half asleep, and Daniel feels honored to witness this quiet moment. As they walk, the old man says, "Do you know why silence is important for English?" Daniel thinks for a moment. Because it helps me listen better? That is one reason, the old man replies. But there is another. Silence helps you hear your own voice. When you fear mistakes, your inner voice becomes small. But in silence, your voice grows strong. Daniel feels the truth of those words. For years, his voice felt small, weak, afraid of mistakes, afraid of judgment, afraid of sounding wrong. But in the quiet morning, his voice inside feels bigger, like it wants to speak again. They reach the top of the small hill. From there, they can see the whole town, the rooftops, the streets, the school, the bakery, and the park where they listened to people the day before. Everything is still. It looks like a painting. The old man sits on a stone and gestures for Daniel to sit beside him. Daniel sits. The stone is cold. The air is crisp. The silence is complete. After a minute, the old man says, "Tell me, what do you hear now?" Daniel listens. Carefully. Deeply. He hears nothing. But it is not empty. It is full. Full of potential. Full of calm. Full of space. He says slowly, "It feels like the world is waiting." The old man smiles. Exactly. Silence is not empty. It is waiting. It waits for you to listen. It waits for you to understand. It waits for you to grow. Daniel feels something warm move through his chest. The old man continues in English. Pauses are powerful. Silence between words is powerful. When you speak too fast, your thoughts become like birds flying in the wrong direction. But when you pause, your thoughts line up. Your heart becomes steady. Your voice becomes true. Daniel looks at the old man with wide eyes. I never thought silence could help me speak better. The old man touches his ear gently. Silence is the teacher of listening. Listening is the teacher of speaking. This is the way. They sit quietly again. Daniel feels the silence filling him like warm tea spreading through his body. He feels grounded, calm, clear. Then the old man stands and says, "Let me show you something." He takes a small pebble from the ground and hands it to Daniel. Throw it. Daniel throws it. The pebble hits the ground and makes a tiny sound, a soft, simple click. The old man says, "Listen again." And Daniel listens. The sound is gone quickly, but he hears it echo inside the silence. Not outside. Inside himself. The old man says, silence makes small sounds important. When you listen to silence, small English words become important too. Words like but, so, because, maybe. These words are soft, but they carry big meaning. Daniel nods. And if I don't listen carefully, I miss the meaning. Yes, the old man says. Listening to silence trains your mind to notice small things. And language is full of small things. They begin walking down the hill. The light is brighter now. The sky turns orange, then pink. The town slowly wakes below them. Daniel walks quietly, taking in the moment. He feels taller, older, wiser. The old man says, when I was young like you, I spoke too much. I thought talking made me smart. I thought silence was weakness. But then I learned silence is strength. Daniel glances at him. How did you learn that? The old man breathes in the morning air. Life taught me. Life makes you quiet when you need to listen. Life makes you listen when you need to understand. They reach the bottom of the hill and walk through the quiet streets again. The bakery opens its door and warm smells float out: bread, butter, sweetness. The old man stops and buys 2 small pieces of bread. He gives one to Daniel. Eat, he says. Learning is better with a happy stomach. Daniel laughs softly and takes a bite. The bread is warm and perfect. They eat in silence. After a minute, the old man says, "Tell me, what is different inside you today?" Daniel thinks. He takes a slow breath. "I feel calm. More calm than ever. Like my mind is not fighting anymore." The old man nods. "Good. That calm will make your English clear. When your heart is quiet, your words become clear." Daniel touches his chest gently. "I think I understand now. Listening to silence makes space inside me." "Yes," the old man says. "Space for new words. Space for new ideas. Space for confidence." They reach the wooden chair again. The old man sits. Daniel stands in front of him. "What now?" Daniel asks. The old man looks up at him with kind eyes. "Now, you will use this silence. When you speak English today, use it. Pause. Listen. Breathe. Let your words come from calm, not fear." Daniel nods. "I will try." The old man smiles. "No, you will do." Daniel smiles too. He goes to school. The hallway is noisy, but today the noise doesn't bother him. Today, his silence inside is strong, like a quiet tree in the middle of a storm. In English class, the teacher gives a speaking activity. Daniel feels nervous, but then he remembers the hill, the silence, the cold air, the deep stillness. He breathes. He pauses. He listens. And when he speaks, something magical happens. His voice is calm. His words are clear. His sentences come naturally. He does not panic. He does not rush. He does not push. He speaks with silence inside him. And the whole class listens. Even his teacher looks surprised. "Daniel," she says softly, "you sound different today. Clearer. More confident." Daniel smiles. "Thank you," he says in a steady voice. At lunch, his friends talk to him. And instead of feeling lost or confused, he listens deeply. He hears their tone, their rhythm, their small pauses, their emotions. And suddenly, conversations feel easier. Later, a classmate asks him a question. Daniel listens. He takes a short pause. He answers naturally. The classmate smiles and says, "Wow, you sound really good today." Daniel blushes, but inside, he knows why. Silence gave him space. Silence gave him control. Silence gave him his voice. After school, he runs toward the old man's house. The old man sees him and smiles softly. "So, how was your day?" Daniel sits down next to him, breathless with joy. "I spoke better today. I understood people more. I didn't panic. I didn't rush. I felt," he pauses, searching for the right word. "I felt peaceful." The old man nods. "Then you learned the lesson of silence." Daniel takes a long, deep breath, letting the air fill his chest, and then leaves slowly. What comes next? The old man looks into the distance with a thoughtful expression. "Tomorrow," he says quietly, "you will learn the hardest part of listening. The part most people run away from." Daniel gulps softly. "What part is that?" The old man turns his eyes toward him and says in a gentle but serious voice, "Listening to your fears." Daniel feels a chill run down his spine. The hardest lesson is waiting. And tomorrow, he will face it. He sits up slowly. He whispers today, "I listen to fear." And just saying those words makes his stomach twist. He gets ready without the warm energy he felt the past days. His hands feel colder. His breath is shorter. His mind feels cloudy. He tries to shake it off, but the feeling stays. As he steps outside, the world is awake now. People are walking. Birds are louder. Cars move along the street. But Daniel feels separated from all of it, like he is walking inside a bubble of worry. He sees the old man waiting in the wooden chair, holding his tea as always. But today, the old man watches him with sharper eyes, as if he already knows everything Daniel feels. "Good morning," the old man says. Daniel sits down slowly. "Morning." The old man studies his face. "You feel heavy today." Daniel nods. "Yes. I don't know why." The old man smiles gently. "You do know. You just do not want to say it." Daniel looks away. His throat tightens. "You said today would be the hardest lesson." "Yes," the old man says calmly. "Today we listen to fear. And fear does not like to be heard." Daniel breathes out slowly, like he is pushing out the weight inside him. "I don't think I'm ready." The old man places his cup on the table. Nobody is ready to listen to fear. But everybody must. Daniel stays quiet. The old man says softly, "Come. Let us walk." They walk down the street. But this time, Daniel feels every sound like pressure. The barking dog feels too loud. The footsteps of people feel too fast. The world feels bigger, louder, scarier. They reach the small park. The old man sits on the same bench as before. Daniel sits beside him, his knees shaking just a little. The old man's voice is gentle. "Do you know why fear is the hardest thing to listen to?" "Why?" Daniel asks quietly. "Because fear speaks fast," the man says. "Fear shouts. Fear lies. Fear tries to protect you, but sometimes it protects you from the wrong things." Daniel frowns. "The wrong things?" "Yes," the old man replies. "Fear tries to stop you from danger, but sometimes it stops you from growing." Daniel feels that deeply. He thinks of all the moments he stopped himself from speaking English. All the moments he avoided conversations. All the times he felt embarrassed. All the times he felt small. He whispers, "Fear stops me from speaking." The old man nods. "That is fear's job. But your job is to listen to it, understand it, and then walk past it." Daniel holds his hands together tightly. "How do I listen to fear?" The old man takes a slow breath. "Close your eyes." Daniel closes his eyes. "Now," the old man says softly, "ask yourself, what am I truly afraid of?" Daniel listens inside himself. At first, there is nothing. Just darkness. Just silence. But then, something appears. A small voice inside him. Shaking. Weak. Afraid. The voice says, "I'm afraid I will make mistakes." Daniel's chest tightens. The old man whispers, "Good. Listen." The voice inside grows louder. "I'm afraid people will laugh at me. I'm afraid they think I'm stupid. I'm afraid I will say something wrong and everyone will judge me. I'm afraid I'm not good enough." Daniel's breath shakes. "It's too much," he whispers. "Keep listening," the old man says. Fear becomes powerful only when you run away from it. When you listen to it, it becomes small. Daniel tries to breathe slowly. He listens again. The small voice says, "I'm afraid I will never be fluent." Daniel feels tears behind his eyes. He hates that fear. Hates how heavy it feels. But the old man says, "Do not fight it. Welcome it." Fear is like a child knocking on your door. It knocks because it wants to be heard. Daniel takes a deep breath. Slowly, softly, he says in his mind, "I hear you. I hear your fear." And something surprising happens. The small voice becomes quieter, calmer, less aggressive. The old man says, "Now tell your fear something. Tell it, I am learning." Daniel whispers, "I am learning." And tell it, "I am growing. I am growing." And tell it, "I will not stop." Daniel opens his eyes. "I will not stop." The old man smiles. "How do you feel?" Daniel thinks for a moment. Lighter, but still scared. "Good," the old man says. Fear doesn't disappear in one day, but when listened to, it becomes soft. They sit quietly for a moment. Then the old man stands. Now come with me. We will listen to fear in action. Daniel follows him with small, unsure steps. They walk toward the edge of town to a small cafe. Inside, two people are talking in English, a woman ordering coffee, a man behind the counter giving instructions. Their English is natural, fast, full of small expressions and jokes. Daniel freezes at the door. The old man whispers, "What do you feel?" "Fear," Daniel says. "I don't understand everything." "Good," the old man replies. "Stay. Do not run." Daniel listens carefully. The woman says something about a double shot and extra foam. The man jokes about being half asleep. They laugh. Daniel understands some words, misses others. The old man asks, "What is fear telling you now?" Daniel closes his eyes for a second. Fear says, "I will never understand fast English." Fear says, "I will never catch up." "And what do you say back?" the old man asks softly. Daniel breathes in. "I say, I understand more than yesterday." The old man nods. "Good." Daniel listens again. This time, instead of trying to catch every word, he listens to the tone, the feeling, the rhythm. He hears friendliness, warmth, normal conversation, and the fear inside him becomes smaller. They leave the cafe. The old man says, "Fear makes English feel heavy." But fear is only a voice. And when you listen calmly, fear becomes quiet. Daniel thinks about that. So, fear doesn't go away. It just becomes quiet. "Yes," the old man says. "And when fear is quiet, you can hear yourself. You can hear your true voice." They sit on a bench outside the cafe. The street is getting louder as more people begin their day. But Daniel feels a small calm inside him, like a candle burning in a dark room. The old man looks at him with soft eyes. "Let me tell you something very important. Everyone who speaks a second language is afraid. Everyone. Even the adults. Even the smart ones. Even the confident ones. Fear is normal." Daniel nods slowly. But, the old man says, raising a finger gently, "Fluent people do not wait for fear to disappear. They speak anyway." Daniel breathes in deeply. The old man continues, "You cannot fight fear by shouting at it. You cannot fight fear by hiding. You can only understand it. And when you understand fear, it becomes small enough for you to walk past." Daniel looks at the old man and whispers, "I'm tired of fear controlling me." The old man smiles warmly. "Then today is the day you stop letting it control you." Daniel's eyes widen a little. "How?" The old man stands. "We will do something simple," he says. "But it will feel big." Daniel's stomach twists again. "What is it?" The old man points across the street. A small fruit shop stands there. A friendly woman arranges apples and oranges. The old man says, "You will go and ask for one apple." In English. Daniel's eyes go wide. "What?" No, I can't. Not today. Not when I feel scared." The old man's voice is gentle but firm. "Today is the day. Because if you speak only when you feel brave, you will never learn courage." Daniel's heart beats fast. "What if I make a mistake?" The old man smiles. "Then you will survive." Daniel swallows hard. He looks at the fruit shop. It feels far, even though it is only 10 steps away. His hands shake. His breath speeds up. The old man says softly, "Listen to your fear." Daniel closes his eyes. The small voice inside says, "Don't do it. You will sound stupid. You will embarrass yourself. You will fail." Daniel breathes. He listens. He hears every word. Then he whispers inside himself, "I hear you, but I am growing. And I will not stop." He opens his eyes. His legs feel weak, but they move. One step, then another, then another. He reaches the fruit stand. The woman looks up and smiles warmly. Good morning. Daniel opens his mouth and fear jumps again. But this time, Daniel breathes. He pauses. He listens to his fear, and then he speaks past it. One apple, please, he says softly. The woman smiles. Of course. She hands him a shiny apple. He pays. She says, have a wonderful day. Daniel whispers, you too. He walks back to the old man, holding the apple like a small trophy. The old man smiles widely. Well done. Daniel laughs nervously. I can't believe I did it. The old man pats his back. You walked past your fear. And now your fear knows you are stronger than it. Daniel feels a warm pride grow deep inside his chest. As they walk back toward the wooden chair, the old man says, tomorrow, you will learn something new. Not listening to the world. Not listening to people. Not listening to silence. Not listening to fear. Daniel looks at him curiously. Then what? The old man stops walking and looks at him with gentle, serious eyes. Tomorrow, he says softly, you will learn to listen to English like it is a story. Because when English becomes a story, you will never forget it. Daniel's heart beats faster, but this time with excitement. The hardest part is behind him. A new lesson is waiting. And tomorrow, a new world of English will open. Daniel wakes up the next morning with a different feeling inside him. Not heavy like yesterday. Not light like the day before. Something in between, something warm and alive. His fear is still there, but it feels quieter now, like a small child who has finally stopped crying. It sits inside him, but it no longer controls him. He sits up in bed, rubs his eyes gently, and whispers to himself today. I listen to stories. The words feel soft and curious on his tongue. He gets ready, takes a deep breath, and steps outside. The air is cool, the sky soft and cloudy, and the town is waking up slowly. As he walks toward the old man's house, he tries to imagine what lesson might come today. Stories? What does that mean? When he reaches the wooden chair, the old man is waiting with a small radio in his hand. Something Daniel has never seen him hold before. The old man smiles warmly. You're right on time. Daniel sits down. What's the lesson today? The old man taps the radio. Today, we listen to English as a story. Daniel frowns gently. A story? Yes, the old man says softly. Because English is not only words. It is pictures, emotions, moments. Stories help your mind understand faster than grammar ever can. Daniel nods slowly, not fully understanding yet, but curious. The old man turns on the radio. A soft English voice begins to speak, slow, calm, like someone reading a bedtime story. Daniel hears a woman describing a small town near the ocean. She talks about the sound of waves, the smell of the sea, the color of sunset. Daniel listens. At first, he tries to catch every word. But soon, something strange happens. He stops thinking about English and starts imagining the ocean. He sees waves. He sees the sky. He sees seagulls flying. He is not listening to English anymore. He is listening to a story. And it feels easy. The old man lowers the volume and turns to Daniel. Tell me what you saw. Daniel smiles. I saw the ocean, and birds, and the sunset. Yes, the old man says. You felt the story. That is the secret. Daniel asks, why is that important? The old man leans forward slightly. When you listen to English like a test, you freeze. When you listen to English like a story, you understand more than you expect. Daniel feels a small spark of hope inside him. The old man continues, today, we will go somewhere special. They stand up and begin walking toward the center of the town. The morning is brighter now, full of movement and voices. People greet each other. Children run. Shops open their doors. Daniel follows the old man into a small library, one he has passed many times but never entered. The air inside smells like old paper and wooden shelves. It is quiet but warm. A few people sit reading. A librarian smiles as they enter. Daniel looks around with curious eyes. Why are we here? The old man smiles. Because this place is full of stories. And stories are the best teachers of language. He walks slowly through the shelves, letting his fingers touch the books gently. Daniel follows closely. The old man picks up a thin book with a simple cover, a picture of a boy walking through a forest. This, he says, is a very old story. I read it when I was your age. Daniel takes the book in his hands. Can I read it? Not now, the old man replies. Today you will listen to the story. They sit at a small wooden table near the window. The old man opens the book and begins reading in slow, simple English. His voice is calm, soft, steady. The story is about a boy who gets lost in a big forest and has to find his way home. At first, Daniel listens only with his ears. But soon, he begins listening with his imagination. He sees tall trees. He hears wind moving through leaves. He sees the boy's worried face. He sees the path, the shadows, the sunlight shining through the branches. He listens, and the English becomes pictures inside his mind. The old man stops after a few pages. Tell me what happened. Daniel tells him the story in his own words, simple, quiet words, sometimes searching, sometimes unsure. The old man listens carefully, nodding gently. When Daniel finishes, the old man says, "Good. You remembered the story, even if you did not understand every word." Daniel looks surprised. How? The old man closes the book softly. Because stories touch the mind and the heart. When the mind sees pictures, it remembers details. When the heart feels something, it remembers meaning. Daniel sits quietly, letting the idea settle inside him like warm tea. The old man continues, when you listen to English, do not hold the words too tightly. Hold the picture instead. Hold the emotion. Hold the meaning. Daniel nods slowly. So, I don't need to understand every single word. The old man smiles. Not at first. Understanding grows like a tree, slowly, quietly, naturally. Daniel feels relief move through him like a long breath. The old man stands. Come. We have one more place to visit. They leave the library and walk toward the old part of town. The streets here are older, quieter. The buildings are tall, with balconies and colorful pots of flowers. The air feels different, gentle, almost magical. They reach a small square where an old storyteller sits every morning. Daniel has seen him before, telling stories to children and adults. Sometimes people laugh. Sometimes they listen in complete silence. Today, the storyteller is already speaking. A small crowd is gathered around him. The old man and Daniel sit at the back. The storyteller's voice is expressive, sometimes loud, sometimes soft, sometimes fast, sometimes slow. His body moves as he speaks. His eyes shine. His hands draw pictures in the air. Even though he speaks in English, everyone understands him, even the small children. Daniel listens carefully. The story is about a bird who dreams of flying to the moon. The bird tries many times and fails. But each time he falls, he learns something new. He grows stronger, braver, wiser. And in the end, he flies higher than he ever thought possible. Daniel feels something warm in his chest. He understands the story, not every word, but the heart of it. He understands the bird's dream, the bird's fear, the bird's struggle, the bird's courage. The story ends. People clap softly. The storyteller smiles and bows. Daniel turns to the old man. I understood it, he says proudly. The old man smiles. Because you listened with your imagination, not your fear. Daniel looks down. It feels different. English feels alive. The old man stands slowly. Yes. When English becomes a story, it becomes alive. When English becomes alive, it enters your heart. And when English enters your heart, you never forget it. They walk back through the old streets toward the center of town. Daniel feels taller, stronger, more open. Something inside him is changing slowly but surely. The old man asks gently, "Do you know why stories help language?" Daniel thinks for a moment. "Because stories make me feel something?" The old man nods. "Yes. And feelings help you learn. You do not remember grammar rules. You remember moments. You remember emotions. You remember stories." Daniel remembers the bird flying, the boy in the forest, the woman near the ocean. He remembers the pictures, the sounds, the feelings. They stay in his mind easily. The old man continues, "When you listen to English stories, you train your brain to think in English. You train your heart to understand without fear. You train your ears to follow the meaning, not the perfect detail." Daniel smiles softly. "I want more stories." The old man laughs warmly. "Good. That means you are ready. Because listening to English is not a duty. It should feel like opening a door to a new world." They reach the old man's wooden chair. They sit. The old man looks at Daniel with eyes full of quiet pride. "You listen to silence. You listen to people. You listen to fear. And today you listen to stories." Daniel blushes slightly. "It feels good." The old man nods. "Tomorrow we go deeper. You will learn one more kind of listening. The most secret kind." Daniel's heart jumps with curiosity. "What is it?" The old man smiles, but this time a mysterious smile. "Tomorrow, you will listen to English inside yourself." Daniel blinks. "Inside myself?" "Yes," the old man says calmly. "Because the strongest English is not what you hear outside. It is what you hear inside your mind." Daniel swallows gently. "How do I do that?" "You will learn tomorrow," the old man says softly. "And after that lesson, everything will change." Daniel feels a small shiver of excitement and fear, but mostly excitement. He stands up, ready for tomorrow. For the first time in his life, English feels like an adventure. Daniel wakes the next morning with a strange, almost glowing feeling in his chest. It is not excitement. It is not fear. It is something quiet, something warm, something that feels like a soft voice whispering inside him. For a moment, he lies in bed, eyes open, staring at the ceiling. He can hear his own breathing. He can feel the stillness of the morning around him. And he remembers the old man's words from yesterday. "Tomorrow, you will listen to English inside yourself." Inside himself. Those words stay in his mind like a mysterious echo. Daniel gets up slowly. He washes his face, gets dressed, and steps out into the cool morning air. As he walks toward the old man's house, he tries to imagine what the lesson will be today. But the more he thinks, the more confused he becomes. How do you listen to something inside you? How does English live inside a person? And how do you hear something that is not spoken? The questions turn inside his head like gentle waves. When he reaches the wooden chair, the old man is there as always, holding his warm tea. But today, something is different. The old man is not looking at the street. He is looking at Daniel, straight at him, as if he already knows what Daniel is thinking. Daniel sits slowly. "Good morning." The old man nods. "Good morning." Daniel waits for the old man to speak, but he doesn't. Not yet. Instead, the old man simply watches him with soft, calm eyes. After a long, quiet moment, the old man says, "Tell me, what do you hear right now?" Daniel looks around. I hear cars in the distance. A bird. The wind." The old man shakes his head gently. "No, I did not ask what you hear outside. I asked what you hear inside." Daniel blinks in confusion. Inside? Yes, the old man says quietly. Close your eyes. Daniel closes his eyes. What do you hear inside your mind? The old man asks softly. Daniel listens. At first, there is nothing. Just darkness and silence. But then, he hears something very faint. A small, quiet voice inside him. Not fear this time. Not worry. Something else. He hears words. Soft English words. The words are not clear, but they're there. Daniel opens his eyes slowly. I hear something. I hear English. But it's faint. The old man smiles gently. Good. That is the seed. That is the beginning. Every language grows from the inside first. Before you speak clearly outside, you must hear it clearly inside. Daniel looks confused. But how do I listen inside? The old man points to Daniel's forehead with one gentle finger. Your mind speaks English even when your mouth does not. We will make that voice stronger today. Daniel sits straighter, curious. The old man stands. Come. Follow me. They leave the street and walk toward the small lake at the edge of town. The water is calm, flat like a mirror. The surface reflects the gentle morning clouds. The air smells like fresh earth and growing trees. The old man sits on a stone near the water, and Daniel sits beside him. Look at the lake, the old man says. Describe what you see, but only inside your mind. Do not speak. Daniel looks at the lake. He sees the colors, the movement, the light. He tries to describe it inside his head in English. The lake is calm. The water is soft. The sky is on the water. The trees are quiet. The words come slowly, but they come. The old man whispers, good. Those sentences inside your mind, that is the English inside you. Daniel feels a warmth spreading through his chest. The old man closes his eyes. Now describe the feeling of the wind on your face. But again, only inside your mind. Daniel closes his eyes too. The wind is cool and gentle. He describes it silently. It feels like soft fingers. It moves my hair. It feels fresh. It feels alive. When he opens his eyes again, the old man is smiling. What you did just now, the old man says softly, is called inner listening. You listen to your own English. The English your mind is trying to create. Daniel whispers, it feels strange. But nice. Like I'm speaking without speaking. Yes, the old man nods. And the more you practice listening to your own English, the stronger and clearer your English becomes when you speak. Daniel thinks of all the times he tried to talk, but felt stuck. All the times he wanted to speak, but the words did not come. Maybe the words were inside him all along, he just never listened. The old man stands slowly. Let us walk. They walk along the lake, following a small dirt path. The wind moves through the tall grass, making it wave like the surface of the ocean. Birds hop along the ground. The morning sun peeks through the trees. The old man stops near a small wooden bridge. Now we do something harder, he says. I want you to tell me a story. Daniel's eyes go wide. A story? But I don't have one. The old man smiles. You do. Everyone has stories inside. You only need to listen to them. Daniel feels nervous again. But I don't know what to say. The old man gestures toward the bridge. Walk across the bridge. Slowly. And as you walk, listen to the English inside your mind. There is a story there. When you reach the other side, you will tell me. Daniel gulps. What if nothing comes? The old man smiles softly. Something always comes when the heart listens. Daniel steps onto the bridge. The wooden boards creak softly under his feet. The lake shines on both sides of him. He walks slowly, breathing deeply. At first, there is only silence in his mind. But then, something begins to appear. Not a full story, just a feeling, a memory. He remembers a moment when he was younger, when he got lost in a supermarket and couldn't find his parents. He remembers the fear, the confusion, the small tears that came to his eyes. He remembers a worker helping him. He remembers the relief when he saw his parents again. The memory becomes a picture. The picture becomes emotion. The emotion becomes words. He reaches the end of the bridge. The old man is waiting, hands behind his back. Daniel takes a deep breath. I have something. Tell me, the old man says. Daniel begins slowly. When I was small, I got lost in a big supermarket. I couldn't find my parents. I was very scared. Everything was loud. Everything was big. I thought I was alone. But then, someone helped me. They took me to my parents. And when I saw them, I felt safe again. He stops, unsure if it was good enough. The old man looks at him with kind, warm eyes. Beautiful. Daniel blushes. Really? Yes, the old man says. Because you spoke from the English inside you. Not from fear. Not from rules. From inside. Daniel feels a strange pride rise inside his chest. They walk further along the lake. The old man continues speaking softly. When you speak English, many thoughts try to stop you. Thoughts of mistakes. Thoughts of grammar. Thoughts of fear. But there is a deeper voice, a quiet voice, a true voice. That voice holds your real English. Daniel listens carefully. The words feel like soft waves touching his heart. The old man continues. People try to speak English from outside, from rules, from pressure, from fear. But fluent English comes from inside, from pictures, from memories, from stories. Daniel thinks about yesterday's stories. The boy in the forest. The bird flying to the moon. The voices on the radio. The images that stayed in his mind. Suddenly, English does not feel like a set of rules. It feels like a river. A river inside him that he can follow. The old man stops near a fallen tree and sits. Daniel sits beside him. I want you to listen again, the old man says. This time, listen to yourself saying something you want to say in English. Something small. Something simple. Something true. Daniel closes his eyes. Inside his mind, a quiet sentence forms. It is simple, but it feels honest. I want to be brave. Daniel opens his eyes. He does not speak it aloud. But the old man smiles anyway, as if he somehow heard it. Yes, the old man says. Bravery begins inside, not outside. They sit in silence, listening to their thoughts. Listening to the wind. Listening to nothing and everything at the same time. After a while, the old man stands. It is time to return. They walk back to the wooden chair. The town is awake now, children laughing, buses passing, voices filling the air. But Daniel feels different. He feels like he has a new voice inside him. The old man sits down and looks at Daniel with deep, calm eyes. You are ready, he says. Daniel frowns. Ready for what? The old man takes a slow breath. Tomorrow is your final lesson. Daniel's heart jumps. Final lesson? Yes, the old man nods. You have listened to silence. You have listened to people. You have listened to fear. You have listened to stories. And today, you listen to yourself. Daniel waits, breath held lightly. The old man says, tomorrow, you will learn to speak from your listening. Daniel's eyes widen. Speak? Yes, the old man says softly. Because speaking is not the opposite of listening. Speaking is the fruit that grows from it. Tomorrow, you will discover your English voice. Daniel feels a mix of excitement and fear, but mostly excitement. His heart beats faster, but in a good way. He whispers, "I'm ready." The old man smiles, his eyes warm like sunrise. "Yes, tomorrow, your voice will open." Daniel walks home with a quiet smile on his face. For the first time in his life, he is not afraid of speaking. He is waiting for it. Daniel spends the whole night thinking about the old man's words. "Tomorrow, your voice will open." Those words echo in his mind again and again like a soft drumbeat. He lies awake, staring at the ceiling, thinking about everything he has learned in the past few days. He listened to silence. He listened to people. He listened to fear. He listened to stories. And yesterday, he listened to the English inside himself. Each lesson changed something inside him. Something small. Something soft. Something quiet. But now the old man is talking about speaking, about opening his voice. And for the first time in his life, speaking English doesn't feel like a mountain. It feels like a door he can open. When Daniel finally falls asleep, the night feels peaceful. He wakes early, not because fear woke him, but because excitement lifted him out of bed like a gentle push. He gets dressed quickly and eats a small breakfast, though he hardly tastes the food. His mind is too full, too awake. He steps outside. The morning air is cool and clean. A light breeze moves through the trees, making them whisper softly. Daniel walks toward the old man's house, his steps fast but steady. When he reaches the wooden chair, the old man is waiting, but today, he is not holding his tea. His hands are empty. His posture is straight. His expression is calm but serious. Daniel sits down slowly. "Good morning." The old man nods. "Good morning, Daniel." Daniel frowns. This is the first time the old man uses his name. It feels important. It feels like a sign. The old man takes a slow breath. "Today is your final lesson." Daniel sits taller. "Today," the old man says, "we bring everything together. All the listening you have learned becomes speaking." Daniel's heart beats softly but excitedly. The old man stands. "Come, we will walk." They begin walking down the street, but the old man does not speak. He walks slowly, calmly, letting the world around them fill the silence. Daniel listens to footsteps, to voices passing, to dogs barking in the distance. The old man leads him toward the center of town, where people gather in the morning, children going to school, shopkeepers opening their doors, neighbors talking on the sidewalks. Daniel looks at the crowd with a mix of fear and excitement. "Why are we here?" The old man turns to him with gentle eyes. "Because the world is where your voice must live." Daniel swallows softly. "What do I do?" The old man says, "First, breathe." Daniel breathes in deeply. The air fills his chest. "Now listen," the old man says. Daniel closes his eyes and listens. He hears English everywhere, soft conversations, quick greetings, light laughter, small expressions. He doesn't understand everything, but he feels the rhythm, the energy, the flow. The old man whispers, "What do you hear inside yourself?" Daniel listens deeper. Inside his mind, he hears small English sentences forming softly. "I can speak. I am ready. I want to try." "Good," the old man says, as if he heard those sentences inside Daniel's head. "Now your voice is ready." They walk to a small open cafe, where a few people sit drinking coffee. The old man points to an empty table. "Sit." Daniel sits. The old man sits across from him and looks into his eyes. Today, the old man says softly, "Your task is simple. You will speak English with a stranger." Daniel's breath stops for a moment. "A stranger?" "Yes," the old man nods. "Because that is how you enter the real world of English." Daniel's hands feel cold. "What if I make mistakes?" The old man smiles gently. "You will. Everyone does. Even native speakers." Mistakes are not a problem. Fear of mistakes is the problem. And you have already learned how to listen to fear. Daniel nods, remembering the quiet voice inside him. The fear is still there, but it no longer controls him. Who should I talk to? Daniel asks softly. The old man gestures with his chin toward a young woman sitting alone at another table. She is reading a small book and sipping tea. Daniel's heart jumps. Her. Yes, the old man says. But you will not talk yet. First, you will listen. Daniel nods. He closes his eyes again. Inside his mind, he hears himself speaking softly. Hello. May I sit here? How are you? It's a nice day. I'm practicing English. He opens his eyes. The old man smiles. Good. The English inside you is ready. But, Daniel whispers, I still feel scared. The old man places a gentle hand on Daniel's shoulder. Courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is walking with fear. Daniel breathes slow and deep. The old man stands. Go. Speak. I will be right here. Daniel nods, stands up slowly, and takes the first step. It feels heavy. The second feels lighter. The third is almost normal. He walks toward the woman. His hands shake slightly. His breath feels warm and tight. His heart beats in his ears. He stops near her table. She looks up with kind eyes. Daniel's voice feels stuck for a moment. But then he hears the old man's voice in his mind, whispering, listen inside. Daniel listens. He hears the simple English inside him. Soft. Clear. Ready. He breathes in. And he speaks. Hello, may I sit here? He says in a gentle voice. The woman smiles warmly. Of course. Please sit. Daniel sits across from her. His hands are still shaking, but something feels good inside him, alive, electric. She closes her book. Are you new here? Daniel nods. Yes. I'm learning English. The woman's smile grows. That's wonderful. You sound good. Daniel blushes. Thank you. I try. She laughs softly. We all try. What's your name? Daniel takes a small breath. My name is Daniel. Nice to meet you, Daniel, she says kindly. I'm Lily. Daniel smiles nervously. Nice to meet you too. There is a small pause. A tiny silence. Daniel listens inside again. A sentence appears. He speaks. Is that a good book? Lily laughs with surprise. Yes, it's very good. It's a mystery story. Do you like stories? Daniel nods gently. Yes, I like simple stories. I listen to them. That's a great way to learn, Lily says. I use stories to learn another language too. Daniel's eyes brighten. Really? Yes, she says. Stories help everything feel natural. Daniel sits a little taller. His fear softens. His voice becomes a little steadier. Lily asks him a few simple questions: what school he goes to, what he likes to do, what hobbies he has. Daniel answers slowly but calmly. He doesn't speak perfectly, but he speaks honestly. He listens deeply. He breathes when he needs to breathe. And the English inside him grows stronger with every sentence. After a few minutes, Lily checks her watch. I need to go, she says with a warm smile. But it was very nice talking to you. Daniel smiles softly. Nice talking to you too. She stands and waves. Good luck with your English. Daniel waves back. Thank you. Lily walks away, leaving Daniel sitting at the table with a quiet, glowing feeling in his chest. He did it. He spoke. He didn't freeze. He didn't panic. He didn't run. He opened his voice. He takes a deep breath and walks back to the old man. The old man is standing with a warm smile on his face. Well, Daniel smiles shyly. I did it. Yes, the old man says. You did. Daniel sits down. His whole body feels lighter, as if a heavy door inside him finally opened. The old man says softly, "Tell me, what did you feel when you spoke?" Daniel thinks for a moment. At first, fear. But then, calm. And then, something like freedom. The old man nods. "That is your voice. Your true voice. When you speak from listening, your words flow from your heart, not your fear." Daniel smiles proudly. "I want to speak more." The old man laughs gently. "And you will. Because your voice is awake now." Daniel looks at him. "Is the lesson finished?" The old man stands slowly. "Yes. Your final lesson is complete." Daniel feels a sudden sadness. "So, I won't see you again." The old man places both hands on Daniel's shoulders and smiles kindly. "You will see me every day, in the way you listen, in the way you speak, in the English that grows inside you." Daniel feels tears behind his eyes, but warm ones, soft ones. The old man adds, "And if you ever feel lost again, just listen. Listening will guide you back to your voice." Daniel nods slowly. "Thank you for everything." The old man whispers, "Go. Use your voice. The world is waiting." Daniel walks home with a warm, glowing heart. Every sound around him feels different now. Every voice, every sentence, every moment feels like a friend. And inside him, his English voice speaks softly, clearly, confidently. "I can speak. I can understand. I am not afraid." For the first time in his life, English feels like his own. Tomorrow will be a new day. And Daniel's voice will continue to grow. Last night, he couldn't stop thinking about what happened at the cafe. He replayed the conversation with Lily again and again. Her voice. His voice. The words they shared. The mistakes he made. The sentences that came out smoother than he expected. The way he didn't freeze, didn't panic, didn't run. Every moment felt like a small light. And when he finally fell asleep, he heard the old man's voice in his mind. "Your voice is awake now." Now, as he opens his eyes, he feels something new inside him. Something he has never felt in all the months he studied English in school. Something he never felt in class or during tests or while reading grammar books. He feels proud. He gets dressed slowly, still half smiling, and steps outside. The morning air is cool, fresh, gentle. The sky is soft blue with white clouds drifting like sails. He begins walking toward the old man's chair out of habit, because every morning until now, that was what he did. But halfway there, he stops walking. He remembers the old man's final words, "Your final lesson is complete." A strange feeling washes over him. Something like sadness, and something like gratitude. He whispers to himself, "The lessons are finished." He smiles softly, but also feels a small empty space inside. The old man's chair will be there, but the old man probably won't. And even if he is, the lessons are over. Daniel stands quietly for a moment, breathing in the calm morning air. Finally, he walks the rest of the way. When he reaches the chair, he sees it is empty. Completely empty. No tea. No newspaper. No old man. For a moment, Daniel's heart drops a little. He touches the back of the wooden chair with his fingertips. The wood is warm from the morning sun. It is strange, this simple chair was the place where everything changed. And now, it is silent. Daniel takes a slow breath and sits down in the chair. He feels the wooden seat under him, the soft sun on his face, the air moving lightly around him. And then he hears a familiar voice behind him. "Why do you look sad?" Daniel's heart jumps. He turns around quickly. The old man is standing behind him, smiling gently. "Why you're here?" Daniel says with surprise and joy. The old man laughs lightly. "Did you think I would disappear like smoke?" Daniel blushes. I thought the lessons were finished. They are, the old man says, sitting beside him. But finished is not the same as gone. Daniel lets out a breath he didn't know he was holding. The old man asks, "Tell me, how do you feel today?" Daniel leans back in the chair and thinks. Different. Like something changed. The old man nods. Good. That is the day after courage. Daniel looks at him curiously. Day after courage? Yes, the old man says softly. The moment you are brave is powerful. But the day after? That is when the change becomes real. Daniel smiles softly. He understands. The old man continues, "So, what will you do today?" Daniel looks around. I don't know. Should I practice? Should I speak to someone again? The old man shakes his head gently. No, not today. Daniel frowns. Then what? The old man points to Daniel's chest. Today, you listen again. But this time, you listen to your new voice. My new voice. Yes, the old man says. Yesterday, you spoke from your heart. Today, you will learn how to live with that voice. Daniel doesn't fully understand yet, but he listens carefully. Come, the old man says, standing. Walk with me. They walk down the street together. People pass them, shops open, children laugh. Daniel hears English everywhere, but he hears it differently now. Words don't feel like strangers anymore. They feel like neighbors he is getting to know. The old man stops near a small bakery. Look, he says. Inside, Daniel sees a baker arranging warm bread behind the glass. The smell of fresh bread fills the air. Customers come in and out, greeting the baker with friendly English phrases. The old man asks, "Do you understand everything they say?" Daniel listens closely. Not everything, but more than before. Good, the old man says. Your ears are growing. Daniel laughs softly. Ears growing, like a plant? The old man smiles. Yes. Learning English is like growing a garden. Speaking is the flowers you show the world. Listening is the water. They walk again. They stop at a bookstore. A group of students is laughing loudly in English. Daniel understands some words, not all, but he feels less lost. Do you feel afraid? The old man asks. Daniel shakes his head. No, not much. The old man smiles. That is your new voice. The voice that listens before it speaks. Daniel looks at the students again. Their English is fast, but he doesn't feel frozen. He feels curious. They keep walking until they reach the small park near the center of town. People are walking dogs, sitting on benches, eating breakfast. The air is full of soft morning sounds. Sit, the old man says, pointing to a park bench. They sit. Now, the old man says, tell me what you hear. Daniel listens. He closes his eyes and lets the sounds come to him naturally. I hear a woman talking on the phone, Daniel says. I hear a boy asking his dad a question. I hear a dog barking. I hear some birds. Yes, the old man says gently. But what English do you hear inside? Daniel stops. He listens deeper. The inside voice. He hears soft English again, simple sentences, small meanings, quiet thoughts. I can understand them a little. I am not lost. I want to learn more. My voice is real. My English is growing. Daniel opens his eyes and looks at the old man. I hear me. I hear my words. The old man smiles. That is the beginning of fluency. Daniel blinks slowly. Really? Yes, the old man says. Fluency is not speaking fast. Fluency is speaking from the voice inside you. The quiet, steady, patient voice you heard today. Daniel lets that sink in. The old man continues, today, you will not practice speaking with strangers. Today, you will not repeat exercises. Today, you will not do lessons. Daniel tilts his head. Then, what do I do? The old man points to the world around them. You live. Live. Yes, the old man says softly. Just live. Walk. Look. Listen. Feel. Let English be part of your day, not a task you must complete. Daniel breathes deeply. The old man stands. I will leave you now. Today, you will walk alone. Listen alone. And speak only if your heart wants to speak. Daniel stands too. Will I see you tomorrow? The old man smiles with gentle eyes. Maybe. Maybe not. You won't need me anymore. Daniel feels a small sadness again, but also respect. The old man turns and begins walking away. Daniel watches him go, slowly disappearing between the trees. Daniel sits on the bench for a moment alone. The world continues around him, voices, sounds, movement. And for the first time, being alone does not feel heavy. He listens. He listens to the world. He listens to the people. He listens to his breathing. He listens to his thoughts. He listens to his English. He listens to his courage. He stands and begins walking slowly through the park, paying attention to everything. He watches a young man throw a ball for his dog. He listens to a mother speaking gently to her child. He hears a couple laughing at a quiet joke. He doesn't understand every word, but he isn't trying to. He is just listening. And then something surprising happens. A small child runs too fast and drops a toy on the path. The toy rolls near Daniel's feet. The little child looks at Daniel with wide, worried eyes. Daniel picks up the toy and holds it out gently. The child's mother hurries over. Oh, thank you so much. Daniel hears himself speak before he even thinks. His English comes out soft and natural. It's okay, he says. Here you go. The mother smiles warmly. You're very kind. Daniel smiles shyly. No problem. He walks away slowly, feeling something warm bloom inside him, like a flower opening. He didn't plan that conversation. He didn't prepare it. He didn't practice it. He didn't think. He just listened and responded naturally. He hears the old man's voice again in his mind. Fluency is speaking from the voice inside you. Daniel walks through the town for hours. He listens to everything. He listens to himself. He lets English touch him like sunlight touches water, softly, gently, slowly. When he returns home near sunset, he feels tired, but the good kind of tired. The kind of tired you feel after growing. He sits at his small desk, takes out a notebook, and writes slowly. I spoke today without fear. I understood more today than yesterday. I listened to my voice. I am becoming fluent. He sits back and reads the words again. A warm smile spreads across his face. Tomorrow will be another day. Tomorrow, he will grow more. Tomorrow, English will feel even closer. But tonight, his heart is full. And his voice is awake. The next morning, Daniel wakes to the sound of birds singing outside his window. The sun is soft and golden. Everything feels calm. Everything feels ordinary. And yet, Daniel knows it is not ordinary at all. Because inside him, something has changed. He stretches, yawns, and sits at the edge of his bed. He feels the warmth of the morning on his face. And then he remembers yesterday, the small conversations, the little successes, the moments when he didn't speak perfectly but spoke truly. He smiles. He stands, dresses, and steps outside. The air is fresh and cool, carrying the smell of grass, of trees, of life waking up. Daniel walks toward the town center, but this time he does not feel nervous, excited, or afraid. He feels calm. He feels steady. He feels ready. The streets are slowly filling with people. Shopkeepers open their doors. Children chatter as they go to school. Old men sit on benches talking softly. Everything feels like a live story. And Daniel sees it all with new eyes. He sees English in the air not as words on a page, but as life around him. He remembers the old man's words. Listen to the world. Listen to your voice. Then speak. Daniel stops for a moment and breathes. He closes his eyes and listens. The world speaks in soft, small English sentences, even if he doesn't understand all of them. Good morning. Did you sleep well? I am going to the market. Have a nice day. The words are not perfect. The sentences are small. But Daniel feels them. He feels the rhythm, the music, the life inside them. And something else, he feels his own English joining them. Quietly, softly, strongly. Daniel opens his eyes and continues walking. He reaches the small cafe from yesterday. The woman, Lily, is there again, sitting alone with her book. She looks up, sees Daniel, and smiles warmly. Hello, Daniel, she says. Hello, Lily, Daniel replies naturally. His voice is calm, clear, confident. Not perfect, but real. Would you like to sit? She asks. It's a nice morning. Daniel nods. Yes. Thank you. He sits across from her. And for the first time, he notices something. He does not feel the fear he felt yesterday. He does not feel the panic. He does not feel the weight of mistakes. He feels curiosity. He feels connection. He feels joy. Lily smiles. How are you today? Daniel pauses, thinking. Inside his mind, a sentence forms naturally. He speaks, I am good. I listened a lot yesterday. I feel happy. That's wonderful, Lily says softly. Listening is very important. I can see you learned it well. Daniel nods. Yes. Listening helps me speak. Lily laughs gently. Exactly. Most people try to speak first, but listening is the secret. Daniel feels proud. He remembers all the lessons with the old man. He remembers listening to silence, to people, to fear, to stories, and finally, to himself. Each moment was a step. Each step led to this one. Lily asks softly, would you like to tell me a story today? Daniel smiles faintly. Yes. I want to try. He thinks for a moment. He remembers yesterday, the supermarket, the little fears, the small joys. And then he begins. When I was small, I lost my parents in a big supermarket. I was very scared. Everything was loud. Everything was big. I thought I was alone. But then, someone helped me. They took me to my parents. When I saw them, I felt safe again. Lily listens carefully. That's a very nice story. You tell it well. Daniel feels his chest fill with warmth. Not pride from others, but pride from himself. His voice, his words, his English, all came from him. Not from rules. Not from fear. Not from books. From him. Lily smiles and asks gently, do you want to try another story? Daniel nods. He thinks. He closes his eyes for a moment. And inside, he listens. He hears the quiet voice inside him. A memory rises, a memory from school, when he had to speak in front of the class. His heart had raced. His hands had shaken. He had spoken words that were not perfect, but they were real. And now he remembers them clearly. He opens his eyes. When I was in school, I had to speak in front of the class. I was very nervous. I wanted to hide. But I spoke. My words were not perfect, but I spoke. And after, the teacher smiled. My friends smiled. I felt proud. Lily nods warmly. Yes, that is the power of speaking from your voice, Daniel. Even imperfect words can be beautiful. Daniel feels something new, a quiet confidence, a steady flame inside him. He is not perfect. He is not fluent. But he is real. And real English is alive. He spends the morning with Lily, listening, speaking, learning, and laughing. Not in a classroom. Not from a book. Not from fear. But from life itself. From the people around him. From the world he walks in. From the English inside him. When he leaves the cafe, Daniel feels a strange happiness. He remembers the old man's lessons. He remembers listening. He remembers speaking. He remembers the courage that led to the day after courage. And now he knows something else. Fluency is not a place you reach. Fluency is not a test you pass. Fluency is a journey. Every day, every moment, every word you listen to, every word you speak, every story you tell, every sentence you hear, it is all part of the journey. Daniel walks through the town slowly, observing, listening, thinking. He stops by the bookstore, the bakery, the park. He listens to conversations, smiles at strangers, hears laughter, and sometimes speaks small sentences, small, simple, real sentences. And each time he speaks, he feels his English grow a little more. Not perfectly, not quickly, not magically, but steadily, quietly, naturally. The sun begins to set. Daniel walks home, tired but full of warmth. He sits at his desk and writes in his notebook. Today I spoke and listened. Today I felt courage and joy. Today I learned that English lives in me, not just in books. Today my voice is real. He reads it twice. He smiles. He feels the truth of his words. His journey continues. Always. Every day. Listening, speaking, growing. The old man's lessons are not finished because life itself is a lesson. And Daniel knows now he will continue, and his English will continue with him. That night, as he lies in bed, he closes his eyes and listens. Not just to the world. Not just to others. Not just to lessons. But to himself. To his voice. To the small, steady, patient English that lives inside him. And he whispers softly, I am ready. I can speak. I can listen. I am learning every day. And for the first time, Daniel feels completely at peace. He drifts into sleep with a soft smile. Tomorrow is another day. Another day to listen. Another day to speak. Another day to grow. Yesterday's lessons, yesterday's courage, yesterday's small victories, they are all still inside him. They feel like a soft, warm blanket wrapped around his heart. He smiles. He knows the journey continues, and he feels ready. He dresses and steps outside. The air smells fresh, like the earth is washing itself clean. The rain makes soft puddles along the streets. Daniel walks slowly, careful not to splash, listening to every sound, the soft drip of water, the distant voices, the gentle rumble of passing cars. He remembers the old man's words. Listening is the first step. Speaking is the next. And growth comes after both. Daniel nods to himself. He doesn't fully understand yet, but he feels the truth in it. He walks toward the town center. The streets are quieter today because of the rain. Fewer people. Fewer distractions. But the English is still everywhere, in signs, in conversations, in greetings, in laughter, in soft words from shopkeepers. He stops at a small cafe. The warm smell of coffee and bread drifts through the air. He sees Lily inside, smiling as always. Hello, Daniel, she says warmly. Hello, Lily, Daniel replies. His voice is calm and natural. Would you like to sit inside? It's raining. Yes, please, Daniel says. They sit at a small table by the window. Outside, the rain creates little ripples in the puddles. Inside, it is warm and soft. Lily smiles. How are you feeling today? Daniel thinks for a moment. He remembers yesterday when he spoke without fear. He remembers how listening helped him understand, helped him respond naturally. He remembers the small victories, the small stories he told, the small courage he felt. I feel happy, he says slowly. I listened. I spoke. I understand more. Lily nods. That is very good. You are learning quickly. Daniel smiles. Not quickly, but steadily. Yes, Lily says softly. Steady is stronger than fast. Fast can forget, but steady stays. Daniel thinks about the old man. He remembers all the lessons, the silence, the forest, the birds, the stories, the cafe, the bridge, the inner voice. Every moment helped him grow. He remembers his fear, his small mistakes, his courage. And he realizes something important. He says softly, I think learning English is not only about words. It is about listening and feeling and trying. Lily smiles widely. Exactly. Words are important, but the feelings behind them are stronger. When you speak from the heart, people understand more. Daniel nods. Yes. Even if the words are simple, they can be true. They sit quietly for a moment, listening to the rain. Daniel notices the sound of the rain hitting the roof. He notices a child laughing outside. He notices a small cat running under a bench. He notices the small things he never noticed before. And he realizes listening is everywhere. Listening is life. He takes a deep breath. I want to tell you another story, he says. Please, Lily says softly. Daniel thinks. He remembers a memory from school, a story he never told anyone before. He closes his eyes and listens inside. He hears the English forming naturally. Soft, calm, real. When I was very young, he begins, I was afraid of speaking in front of people. Even in my classroom, even with friends, even when I knew the answer. I could not speak. My mouth was frozen. My heart was racing. My mind was full of fear. But one day, I tried. I spoke one small sentence. I said, I can do this. My teacher smiled. My friends smiled. I felt proud. That was the first time I spoke from my heart. Lily listens quietly, her eyes warm. That is beautiful, Daniel. Very brave. You were listening to yourself then, even if you didn't know it. Daniel nods. Yes, I see it now. Every small step, every small word, it is part of growing. They continue talking for hours. Not perfect sentences. Not memorized grammar. Just real conversations. Daniel listens. He speaks. He makes small mistakes. He laughs at them. He learns from them. He feels his English growing like a small plant reaching for sunlight. After the cafe, Daniel walks home slowly. The rain has stopped. The streets are wet, shiny. He sees children jumping in puddles. He sees neighbors greeting each other. He sees the world full of small English moments, waiting to be heard, waiting to be spoken. He sits by his window with a notebook. He writes slowly. Today I listened more than I spoke. I spoke from my heart. I made mistakes, but I smiled. I am learning every day. I can speak my English naturally. He reads the words aloud softly, slowly. His voice is steady, calm, clear, warm. He leans back in his chair. He closes his eyes. And he listens to the sounds outside, to the memories inside, to the English inside him. And for the first time, he feels complete. Not perfect, not finished, but complete. He realizes that learning English is not about memorizing. It is not about tests. It is not about fear or pressure. It is about listening. It is about speaking from the heart. It is about growing every day. One word, one sentence, one story at a time. He whispers to himself, I will keep listening. I will keep speaking. I will keep growing. And Daniel knows the journey continues. Always. Every day. Every moment. Listening. Speaking. Learning. Growing. The soft light of sunset fills his room. The world outside glows gently. And Daniel smiles. He feels the quiet power of his voice. He feels the strength of his courage. He feels the beauty of listening. Tomorrow, he will wake and continue. Tomorrow, he will listen again. Tomorrow, he will speak again. Tomorrow, he will grow again. And the voice inside him whispers softly, clearly, warmly. He thinks about his journey. He remembers the first day he met the old man. He remembers the fear in his heart, the silence in the forest, the long walks, the stories, the listening, the small mistakes, the courage, the first words he spoke, the first time he truly understood someone else. It feels like a long journey, but he also knows it has been simple. Step by step, word by word, story by story. Each moment teaching him something new. Each moment shaping his voice. Each moment growing his confidence. He remembers the old man's first words. Listening is the path. Speaking is the flower. Courage is the sun. Now he finally understands. Listening gave him understanding. Speaking gave him freedom. Courage gave him strength. Daniel walks slowly to the town center. Everything looks familiar, yet new. The streets, the shops, the people, they all feel alive. He sees Lily at the cafe. She smiles when she sees him. "Good morning, Daniel," she says. "Good morning, Lily," he replies, calm and steady. She nods. "How are you feeling today?" Daniel thinks for a moment. He feels his voice rise gently from his heart. "I feel happy. I feel ready. I feel confident." "That is wonderful," Lily says softly. "You have grown a lot." Daniel smiles. "Yes, I understand more. I listen more. I speak more. And I know I will keep learning." Lily nods. "That is the most important. Learning never ends. But now, you know how to grow naturally." Daniel remembers all the lessons of the old man, the quiet lessons of listening, the small exercises of speaking, the courage to make mistakes, the patience to learn slowly. He realizes something important. He can continue learning on his own. He doesn't need anyone else. He has the tools. He has the courage. He has the voice. He walks through the town slowly. Each step is soft but strong. Each word he hears, each sentence he sees, each conversation he listens to, it is a lesson. It is a story. It is a practice. He sits by a small fountain in the park. Water flows gently over the stones. Children laugh. Birds chirp. People pass by, greeting each other in English. Daniel closes his eyes and listens. "Good morning. How are you? I like your bag. Thank you. Can you help me?" He hears these sentences differently now. They are no longer just words. They are meaning. They are life. They are stories waiting to be told. He opens his eyes and smiles. He whispers softly, "I can understand. I can speak. I can tell my story. I can listen to others." Daniel thinks about the old man. He feels gratitude. He feels respect. He feels warmth. The old man didn't just teach him English. He taught him a way to live with English. A way to grow. A way to listen, speak, and feel. He remembers one final lesson. The journey never ends. But if you listen, speak, and grow every day, your English will live with you always. Daniel understands now. It is simple. Not fast. Not perfect. Just simple. He writes in his notebook slowly. Listening first. Speaking next. Courage always. Grow every day. English is life. He reads it aloud softly, slowly, clearly. The words feel alive in his mouth. The meaning feels alive in his heart. He thinks about the audience, anyone who is learning English, anyone who is afraid, anyone who feels lost or unsure. He imagines them listening to his story. He imagines them following his path step by step, slowly, steadily, gently. He whispers to himself, "If I can do it, so can you. If I can speak, so can you. If I can grow, so can you." And then he adds one more thought. English is not just words. English is courage. English is listening. English is life. The sun begins to set. The light glows softly over the town. Daniel walks home slowly. He feels calm. He feels strong. He feels ready for tomorrow. And every day after, he knows the journey will continue. Every conversation, every story, every moment, every word he listens to and speaks. He reaches home, sits by his desk, and writes one final note for himself. Today I understand. Today I speak. Today I listen. Today I grow. Tomorrow I will continue. Daniel closes his notebook. He leans back in his chair. He closes his eyes. He listens to the world, to his heart, to his voice. And he whispers softly, "I am ready. I am learning. I am growing. My English is alive." And with that, Daniel feels peace. Soft, quiet, steady peace. Because he knows the journey never ends. But he is no longer afraid. He is no longer lost. He is alive with English. He smiles softly, closes his eyes, and drifts into a calm, gentle sleep. And the world continues to speak. And Daniel continues to listen. And Daniel continues to grow. And so can anyone who is learning English. Step by step, word by word, story by story. Listening first, speaking next, courage always, and growth every day. The story ends, but the journey begins. This is Super English Talks, where learning meets meaning. See you in the next episode.